What is going on, Philadelphia Eagles fans? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Jay All Day NFL Show. We're just a little over a week away from the 2025 NFL Draft. I just want to say thank you guys for hanging out with me all off season. I want to have some fun today. Mock draft season is closing up very, very, very soon. So in today's mock draft, I want to do full 7 rounds, but I want to do offense only. It's a little exercise to kind of see what offensive players could be available at certain spots where the Philadelphia Eagles are drafting. So in today's video, we're drafting nothing but offensive players for the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, this is not realistic. This is just for fun, guys, just for entertainment purposes only, right? So let's have some fun today. Full 7-round mock draft, offense only. Let's get into it. All my Eagles fans, we're only 39 subscribers away from 15,000. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in to the channel. So here we are. We're in the first round, 32nd overall. I did the filter positions of offensive players only minus quarterback. Right. Jaden Higgins is a guy I absolutely love. Do the Eagles really need a wide receiver in the first round? Probably not. If they're going to go offense, there's offensive lineman like Tyler Booker from Alabama. Really, really interesting guy. Not the highest graded guy, but he was very productive in the passing game. Pass block rate, 86.5. Very, very efficient in that regard. He played left guard pretty much his entire collegiate career with a few snaps at right guard and 77 snaps at left tackle. But he gave up no sacks at all this year and nearly 400 pass block snaps. Pretty efficient guy, and he's a monster. 6'5", 325. He's only 21, so he's probably going to get a little bit bigger and fill out that frame a little bit, right? High IQ guy, very interesting player at this position for the Philadelphia Eagles. Another guy I absolutely love is Donovan Jackson. He was originally the left guard for Ohio State, but when Simmons got hurt, he bumped out the left tackle and performed very, very, very well the last, 7 or 8 weeks of the college football season. Pass block snaps, 422, allowed 2 sacks this year. Not too shabby. Pretty good overall player. And he could play left guard, right guard, probably could even play center, and, fill in a pinch at either of the tackle spots. The Eagles might value that kind of versatility. 6'4", 320. He's got really good size as well. So, Elijah Arroyo's on the board. Some other wide receivers, some tackles. Tate Ratledge is a guard I definitely like. But no one I'm like, I would consider in the first round for the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, so Tyler Booker or Donovan Jackson. I kind of like Donovan Jackson's versatility because he could play guard, he could play tackle, probably even play center. He's a really talented guy from Ohio State. I like Tyler Booker, but he's definitely more of a one-dimensional type of guy, kind of a downhill blocker. I like the versatility for Donovan Jackson. So I'm going to go Donovan Jackson, 32 overall, and this offense only mock draft for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we move on to round 2, 64 overall. I'm going to put this filter on again, guys. Wide receiver, tight end, running back, offensive lineman, and we got tackle. All right, there we go. There it is, guys. Judkins on the board, really interesting guy. I think Trey Harris is definitely sliding under the radar. He had some really big games for Ole Miss this year. And Elijah Arroyo's on the board, but Mason Taylor on the board here from LSU. Obviously, the Eagles really need a tight end, right? So for me, Mason Taylor makes the most sense. 546 yards, 2 touchdowns, almost 10 yards per reception. But he's not even 21 years of age yet. 6'5", 255. I like that frame. He's really athletic. He's just like a dynamic player. He's got really good catching ability in traffic. He can run clean routes. He's only going to get more crisp as a route runner. He's big enough to block inline. He can run routes out of the slot. You can even probably string him out outside if you really wanted to. I think he's a very, very talented guy. He's only going to get stronger. He's not even 21. So for me, that makes a lot of sense there. Another tight end the Eagles could potentially be interested in is Elijah Arroyo, the tight end from Miami. People are split on him. Some people really like him and other people not so much. He had around 600 yards. 7 touchdowns is very impressive. Cam Ward was throwing him the football. The contested catch rate at 20% is pretty awful in my opinion, but the drop rate's under 3%. That's pretty damn good. But he's only had one semi-productive year in college. I don't particularly love that. 22 years of age, 6'4", 345. He does got pretty good hands. Could definitely be a red zone threat, in my opinion. Ursery's on the board, the tackle from Minnesota. Really good year in 2023. Regressed a smidge here in 2024, but still only allowed one sack and one quarterback hit. Very impressive 3-year starter at the left tackle spot, right? So far in our offense-only mock draft, we took Donovan Jackson, the tackle. I'm going to go tight end here. Mason Taylor goes to the Eagles in this offense-only mock draft at 64 overall. Now, we're up in the third round, 96 overall. Charles Grant came in for a top 30 visit. Donovan Jackson's labeled as a tackle, but he's more of a guard at the NFL level, in my opinion, with some versatility. Charles Grant is a true tackle. He's got almost 35-inch arms. Pass block grade is 88.1. Run block grade 90.4. Played against smaller schools, so we'll have to see how that translates to the NFL. But you put him in Statland U. He's only given up 3 sacks in the last 2 seasons. 3 seasons. 3 sacks in all 3 years of his college experience. That's pretty impressive, man. And then only 3 QB hits. So during his time playing tackle at William & Mary, the quarterback has only been touched 6 times. That's really, really impressive, man. And the Eagles are interested in him by bringing him in for a top 30 visit. I think if he's available on the board this late in the third round, the Eagles will definitely consider drafting Charles Grant in this offense-only mock. I'm taking Charles Grant in the third round. Now, we're up again in the fourth round. Running back, we're going to add that. We're going to add some tight ends, offensive tackles, do the whole kit and caboodle. Since we already drafted a tight end, I'm not going to add them. But so we take a look at how the board played out. There's some interesting running backs on the board. Jarquez Hunter from Auburn, 1,200 yards, 6.5 yards per carry, 5'10", 209. I do like his size. Not the tallest guy in the world at 5'10", but very, very talented player in my opinion. Just taking a look at who's left on the board. Mullings from Michigan. I definitely like him. I do like Jalen Lane as well, the wide receiver from Virginia Tech. Kyle Monangai is on the board. Seth McLaughlin from Ohio State. Pretty good center. Are the Eagles going to re-sign Cam Jurgens? That's a really interesting question, right? Because the Eagles are paying a lot of money to Dickerson, Lane Johnson, and Mailata. Do they think that Johnson's going to come off the book soon so you can re-up a guy like Cam Jurgens? That can make some sense depending on what he wants money-wise, right? But he's a really good player. Brashard Smith from SMU had an incredible season. 90 overall grade, 1,300 yards, 5'10", 196. He's even smaller than Jarquez Hunter. So in the fourth round, when I take a look at the Eagles in this offense only, Pat Bryant from Illinois, I like him. He's got pretty good size, 6'3", 200 pounds. I could definitely see the Eagles considering a player like that in the fourth round. So some other guys, I don't think quarterback's in play. Running back could be in play, but they did bring in some guys this offseason, so I'm not sure they go there. So in this offense-only mock draft, taking a look, scrolling through who's left, Jarquez Hunter's probably got the most juice at 5'10", 209. For me, it's between him. I do like Ty Felton as well. He's a pretty talented guy. Torrey Horton from Colorado State. Pat Bryant might be there for us a little bit later. So I'm going to go Jarquez Hunter, the running back from Auburn. 1,200 yards. He's improved every single year with total yards. 668 to 911 to 1201. Zone grade and gap grade are pretty similar. That elusive rating at 142 is excellent as well. He's just a pretty good running back for, drafting really late in the fourth round. Jarquez Hunter could be available and interest the Eagles at the bottom of the fourth round. Now, we have 4 fifth-round picks, guys. Remember, we're doing offense only here. Snagging a quarterback I do like Tanner McKee for sure, but it's always good to, keep filling up that room. All right, now let's take a look at who's left. Maybe bringing in a wide receiver with one of these picks could make some sense. Mumpfield from Pitt. Solid guy, not super, super talented. Luke Kandra from Cincinnati. The Eagles have the Cincinnati connection where Jason Kelce went to college. He gave up no sacks at all and almost 500 pass block snaps. Excellent pass blocker. Not the best gap guy, but the way the Eagles run their offense, I don't think that's a huge deterrent in my opinion. 6'4", 323, really talented guy. Really, really talented guy. Jalen Lane, he's on the board, the wide receiver, 5'10", 196. Could be a slot guy for us. That could be interesting with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown on the outside. I could really, really like that, But where do we go? Do we do the Luke Kandra pick or do we go Jalen Lane? I'm going to go Jalen Lane here because I think Luke Kandra definitely. Oh, no, he's still there. So I'm going to go Jalen Lane, 161 overall, the wide receiver from Virginia Tech, and then Luke Kandra. I want to bring in some guard depth to this room at 164 overall. I think if Kandra's available at 164 overall, the Eagles will definitely have to consider him. Okay, now let's go back, plug in these positions of offense only for this draft. Offensive tackle and guard. It thinks that it replaces it after every single pick. But okay, here we are on the board here at 165 overall. We added Donovan Jackson's a guard. We got our tight end. We got a tackle. We got another guard. We got a running back. We got a wide receiver. We're getting a little bit of everything here in this offense-only mock draft. Having a little bit of fun with only 1 week left. Crazy. 1 week left. Could the Eagles draft a quarterback late in this draft? They do have Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He's pretty mid in my opinion. Tanner McKee. A lot of teams are interested in him. So maybe the Eagles on draft day trade him for a second-round pick, third-round pick, something like that. That could be really interesting as well. All right, let's take a look and see who's available for us in the 5th round, 165 overall. So Nick Nash is a guy very, very productive his last year at San Jose State. Over 1,300 yards, 16 touchdowns, 6'3", 195. So Jalen Lane's more of a slot guy in the 5th round, 161 overall. So remember, I'm doing this mock draft thinking what players are available on offense if they wanted to do this at 165 overall. Byshal Tootin is on the board as well. Man, that could be a really interesting pick. But the running back room is already pretty full. I don't think Tootin lasted 202. So I'm going to go Jonah Monahan, the center, I really like as well, bringing in some center depth for this offense. In the 5th round, 6'5", 310, one of the better centers in this draft class. But we already got 3 offensive linemen. So I'm going to go Nick Nash at 165 overall. And I did that because at 165, a true X wide receiver could be really interesting. 85 overall grade, 6'3", 195, a little bit older, right? Going to be 26 by the time camp starts. So that's old, right? So that's why a guy with this skill set is falling to way late in the 5th round. I think he's a really, really good player. So that's why you take a flyer on a guy like that, potentially in a round 5 pick, right? Because we don't have a 6 or a 7. So now, who's left on the board at 168 overall, right? Taking a look, Deontay Thornton Jr. from Tennessee had a really good year. 6'5", 214. Another big-bodied X-type wide receiver. Really good player, So, Tyler Cooper's on the board. Kyle Monangai is on the board. Remember, this is just a for fun draft. So, we're just kind of looking at what potential players are available on offense late in the 5th round. Jake Majors, the center from Texas. 2 really good years. He gave up no sacks the last 2 years in an 85 overall grade. Jake Majors is kind of going underrated in the PFF ratings, but he's played the highest competition in college football, right? He played a lot of freaking games this year, man. A lot of freaking games. So, all those playoff games against big programs, Georgia, Ohio State, Texas A&M, Georgia. He's played Georgia twice this year, right? This guy has got a ton of really great experience. I think the Eagles are going to value that. Bringing in a center late in the 5th round to, be the backup center, kind of swing at guard in a pinch. Jake Majors, 168 overall. Okay, so PFF is going to give us a horrible grade for these because remember, this is for fun, right? This is only offense that we did. So in these potential rounds, Donovan Jackson, I definitely think could be in play for the Eagles at 32. Mason Taylor at 64 could 100% be in play. Same thing with Charles Grant in the 3rd round. And then, later in the draft, they even gave us an A grade for the Luke Kandra pick at 164 overall in the 5th round. He's available at 164. Kandra's definitely in play. So is Jalen Lane at 161 overall, the slot receiver from Virginia Tech. And I do like Nick Nash because if A.J. Brown gets hurt at some point during the season, and as players age, they just get hurt. So bringing in a young guy who's physical and tough, I'm not a Johnny Wilson guy. I'm just not. I think Nick Nash could play the X on the outside in a pinch, right? Obviously, Devontae Smith would be the number 1 target, but Nick Nash, late in the 5th round, he's like 6'3", over 200 pounds. I like that pick. And then Jake Majors, bringing in a center late in the 5th round, could be in play for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Because, remember, Cam Jurgens' contract's up. Do they re-sign him? They already have a lot of money invested in the offensive line. I do think the Eagles will re-sign him. But having a good, true backup center with a lot of great college experience on the roster is never a bad thing. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this Eagles offense-only mock draft. Just a little fun exercise we're doing, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.